Hello, I'm your host, Xander, Billie, and welcome to SPOTcast. I'm joined here by my guests, Zion Russell.
Hello.
And Sophie Nguyen.
Hi.
On June 11th, Jon Stewart, a famous comedian and the former host of The Daily Show, spoke to Congress about a bill meant to obtain funds for suffering 9/11 victims. He was furious with Congress for not acting when the money for the victims was running low. In his eyes, allowing the funds to run out went against the U.S.'s mission to never forget. With major acts of terror occurring often and more people born after 9/11 growing up, are we starting to move on and forget the pain of that horrific day? This is SPOTcast. So, first of all, do you guys know what 9/11 was?
Yes.
Yes.
Were either of you alive at the time of 9/11?
No.
Neither was I.
Do you believe allowing the victims to go without government aid is immoral?
I do believe that it is immoral. They deserve the government aid. They've been through a lot. It was a very horrific event, and they do deserve the government aid. As well do the people who helped out.
In a way, I agree and disagree at the same time, because the victims do deserve aid, but I believe it's more of a larger problem when it comes to the government aid, as there's a lot of veterans with healthcare problems and their own healthcare issues, but they're not being able to get that aid to see it through, and so it's just a wider problem.
The 9/11 terrorist attack was a catastrophic event in the history of the United States. Do you feel as if its impact is still felt in the world today?
Yes and no. The impact of 9/11 is lessened in today's society, I feel.
I feel like it still has an impact, as there's still troops and wars in the Middle East as a result from 9/11, or like supposedly as a result of 9/11.
Do you think it's irresponsible to forget about the atrocities of the attack less than 20 years later?
I do think it's irresponsible to forget about the atrocities. You should never forget what happened. It was a very horrific event and should still be talked about in the same ways that it was when it first happened. I feel that people are beginning to forget about it, and it just seems like it was not as horrific as it was.
I disagree and agree at the same time, because yes, it's part of history and it's a huge horrific event, and that we still remember other horrific events like the Holocaust and World War I. But at the same time, I know so many people who don't remember like the exact dates or like when it happened in history. They just know it happened. And so I guess we're more of moving on from 9/11 instead of being stuck in the past.
Many schools, including one I've attended, have started to not mention the terrorist attack on September 11th. Have your schools acknowledged 9/11 this past year?
No, they haven't.
I don't recall.
What do you think this means about the state of our country?
I believe that people are starting to forget what happened. Maybe not in a literal way, but in a figurative way. They know that it happened, but it doesn't feel the same anymore.
I agree with Zion. It's mainly because we weren't alive to witness 9/11, so it doesn't have that much of an impact. And as there's more and more people born after 9/11, it's like we're moving on.
And that will do it for SPOTcast. I would like to thank my guests, Zion
Thank you.
and Sophie.
Thank you.
For Spot 127, I'm Xander, Billie.